What's going on, YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got another incredible knife to show you guys. This is a full custom ADV or Andre de Villiers Tanto. That is actually, as far as I understand, the name of this knife. You can see here we have a straight blade here, and then actually some belly right when you get to the point where that turns into a Tanto. This is a very beautiful knife. There is a lot going on here. But first off, I want to once again thank my good buddy, Jeff Goodnow, which is his name is becoming increasingly more common on this channel. He has provided a ton of knives already for content and is actually going to still be providing more unbelievable eye candy for you guys. So thank you so much. Give him a follow on Instagram if you haven't. I know I say it all the time. You can follow him at GoodNowJeff on Instagram. He's pretty easy to find. Just go look at some of my pictures. He and I have constant conversations under there. So really, really cool guy. This is a full custom piece, and it is definitely eye candy. Now, while you can absolutely use these knives, I mean, Andre does make functional knives, both in his custom pieces and his mid-tech pieces and his production pieces. This isn't really going to be a review. This is, a lot like, it's kind of like on the Microtech or the Marfione Warhound, I kind of gave it a review, kind of gave it an overview, but just keep in mind this is a this is a custom piece. So this is a conversation piece. This is something that's kind of something that a collector would be after. While a few people might use it, it's really something to just enjoy visually. So that's going to be mainly what this is. Let's go ahead and take some measurements here real quick. Overall length of this custom ADV Tanto is going to be just about 9 inches. It's actually a little bit under. It's about 8.75, maybe 8.8. From tip to scale, you're looking at about 3.8 inches on the blade. The actual cutting edge is just a hair over 3.5, maybe 3.6 inches overall. Let's go ahead and do some size comparisons up against the Ontario Rat Model 1. Rat 1 is coming in at 8.6 inches. So you can see this is a big knife, both in terms of height and in terms of overall length. How about up against the Spyderco PM2? Spyderco PM2 coming in at 8.3 inches overall. How about up against the Ritter Hogue or Benchmade Griptilian, however you want to look at that. Ritter Hogue coming in at 8 inches overall. And last but not least, kind of a meaningless comparison, the Spyderco Delica. Spyderco Delica coming in at 7 inches. How about a demo of the action? You guys remember, actually real quick, I'll do this. You guys remember me doing this knife? This is another ADV knife. This is a Tack Butcher, just a little bit bigger in overall length. Just a little bit, just mainly in terms of the blade. Not by much though. The action on this mid-tech is a little stiffer, though it is brand new. Both of these are brand new, but there is actually a noticeable difference with the custom in terms of action. This thing is really smooth. It is almost drop shot, and I imagine it will absolutely get to that point. The detent is very snappy, very satisfying, and the action is incredibly smooth. It's glassy. I mean, this is an awesome action. Obviously, there were some additional steps taken on the inside there to make sure that detent ball's travel path was nice and smooth. So I do appreciate that, especially on a full custom piece. Very, very nice action on that guy. Let's go ahead and weigh this pretty big folder there. Coming in, no surprise, at about 7.25 inches. It is pretty thick titanium and a pretty big blade stock. We'll go ahead and do it again here. Yeah, 7.25 inches. This is a big knife. If you're planning on carrying it, which I feel like is not, the common person is not going to buy this knife to carry it. Keep that in mind. It's pretty heavy. If you're wearing jeans, not going to be as much of a problem. But if you're wearing dress pants and you're going to carry this every day, probably not. Let's take a look at the blade. We definitely have an awesome kind of stubby Tanto with some belly. Really the main aspect of this, the one that, nobody can hear what I'm saying right now because they're looking at this beautiful Damascus blade. Absolute perfection. It's a little rough on the inside of the fuller here, which I think was on purpose, and then it's polished out here to give some nice contrast. I really, really like that. Nice gear pattern on the back of the really thick blade. This is definitely 187 thousandths stock thickness up against the Tack Butcher. You can see here 165 thousandths on the guy on the right, 187 definitely on the guy on the left. That's about as thick as the Microtech SOCOM Elite or Hinder XM24. You have the typical hole pattern flipper tab that's shaped. I mean, it's a big flipper tab, but man, it's shaped really well to get that thing to deploy. I really, really like that flipper tab. It is going to stick out a lot for those of you who are going to carry it. We have titanium scales that look to be about exactly the same as the scales that are on the Tack Butcher. I would imagine that those are cut by CNC. If there's anything on this knife that is CNC, it's probably the original scales. That's the only thing I can guess. I could be wrong, though. The entire thing could be handmade. I don't know. Everything else appears to be hand done. There is some variance in the tone. You have some darker titanium. It's not coated. It's just darker titanium there on these little places where it's been machined out. You have a beautiful, beautiful custom pivot with a honeycomb pattern that's been anodized both blue and gold. And on the inside of the pivot, that's all custom done. There's hues of purple and pink and turquoise and blue, and that pivot is an absolute explosion of color. It's also a simple torque set pivot, so if you wanted to adjust it, you totally could. Moving down to the insert here, you can see there's a little bit of a faux bolster situation going on, but the insert is something that he calls Dragon Skin C-Tech. C-Tech is something that you see more often on custom pieces. It comes in a variety of different colors. I don't want to call it plastic. It's definitely, I think it's a resin that's got some other materials kind of mixed in there, and then it can be dyed different colors. But it definitely, the end result is something that's very exotic and very pretty to look at, and to my understanding, extremely durable as well. It is certainly not a common material, and like I said, it's mainly, not 100%, but mainly exclusive to custom knives. A couple of flat screws holding things in there. Then you have some beautiful turquoise, bluish purple, depending on where you're turning. See, we got purple on this screw up here. I'll turn a little bit, and it's back to blue. Really, really nice. That's awesome. The most beautiful anodizing on the whole knife by far is this iridescent turquoisey backspacer that's been polished. You can see this thing literally will change colors depending on where you're holding it and where the light is reflecting off of it. That is stunning. That is so pretty, and my ugly, nasty fingerprints are ruining this for everybody. Let me clean that off real quick so that everybody can see it in its vibrant glory. Ugh, that is just mind-blowing. I love that, and he's got more Dragon Skin C-Tech in here. The contrast also between the backspacer and the polished titanium parts of the rear of the scales is awesome. Up here, you have more of a satin finish. Back here, it's absolutely polished. You can see there it's mirror polished. Same thing on the inside here. That's really nice. It just adds more dynamic to the look. Of course, this has a little bit of a glass breaker and a spot for some 550 paracord. The pocket clip, which I'm also going to clean off because I've bestowed upon it my greasy fingerprints, is also kind of the same type of custom ano honeycomb pattern that you'd see on the pivot. You have two different shades of blue ano, a more subdued navy blue and then a bright sort of aqua blue in combination with this multicolor ano that you're seeing on the screws here on the where it's holding things in. It should be pointed out that the ano is even on the undersides of the screw that are going through to the other side. That's really nice. So many colors going on. This pocket clip is awesome. Has the little roller ball thing. It's just beautiful. More purple anodizing on the screws holding in the filler tab. Same sort of multicolor iridescent anodizing that's on the steel lock bar insert, which this has, by the way, that doubles as the over travel stop. And then an equally impressive opposite side of the pivot. This is one of the most energetic looking knives that I have ever seen. And let me tell you something, as far as what I've seen from Andre de Villiers on Instagram, which he's very active, you really should follow that guy on Instagram. He has some of it, like every day Jeff and I drool over the stuff that he uploads to Instagram. And it's just amazing. This is, you know, a lot of times with custom makers, you kind of see the same thing over and over and over again. It's like the same layout. It's the same blade, but the Damascus has a different pattern. Same pivot, but it's a different color. Same inlay, but it's a different, you know, it's a different color. Whatever. Andre has a ton of different blade shapes. He has a ton of different blade finishes. He has a ton of different ways he does the pivots, the inlays, a ton of different patterns that he does on the titanium. It's infinitely interesting. If this in particular it's like kind of like the shape, but the blade's not really my thing, the colors aren't really my thing, go follow him on Instagram and just look through his pictures. I guarantee you'll find something that will blow your mind. It's incredible. And let me tell you this, on top of that, anybody who has never purchased a custom knife or has never spent more than $100 on knives, then you can basically just ignore this because I'm not talking to you. But if you have purchased knives for a lot of money, you know what mid-techs go for and you know what customs go for, you probably have an idea of what this costs in your mind. Some of you might guess it, but I'm going to guess most of you are a little bit high. Jeff paid $900 for this. As far as custom knives go, that is definitely on the low end. That is impressive. I saw a full custom Bowie on his channel just this morning that was Damascus and had a lot of this custom anodizing, but the insert was Timascus, which is definitely an expensive and more exotic material. He had the frag pattern on there, and there was, believe it or not, actually even more going on than this one. And he was also asking a really good price for that knife. I urge you to go check that out. My point is as far as custom knives go, as far as these conversation pieces go, as far as these exclusivity items go amongst popular makers nowadays, which I definitely would consider Andre de Villiers to be. These knives have been around for a while. That's a really good price. That's just astonishing. You know, I mean, his mid-techs are a great price. His production, I mean, some of the production stuff that he's done is a really good price. I don't know if he actually does production pieces. I think almost everything is a mid-tech. Every price that I've ever seen for an Andre de Villiers knife has been very impressive. I've always been at least a couple hundred high on my guess. And I love to see that. I love it. I hate it when I'm low and I find, oh, that's more than I thought. But I love it when I'm high. You know, if I'm high a little bit, about like $50, let me rephrase that. I love it when I guess the price higher than what it actually is. If I guess $50 up or $100 up, I'm always pleasantly surprised, but I'm oftentimes 200 off of what these things actually cost. I thought this guy was going to be about 600. It's about 480. And I thought this guy was going to be at least 1,200, and it was 900. Now, his prices are going to vary a little bit. It depends on what it is that you're looking at. I do know that you can buy knives direct from him on Instagram. You can also find them at retailers. You're going to find some custom pieces like this and some more plain versions like the ADV Tack Butcher that I just showed. But he's pretty active. You know, you can get your hands on this stuff. It's not like it used to be back in 2014, where it was really hard to get what you wanted. But not only are you going to be able to get one, you're probably going to get something that's pretty unique. He gave me a preview of some very, very interesting materials that he's going to start using for inlays on some of these knives. I don't want to ruin anything. I would just say follow him. If you're interested, if this has intrigued you, follow him and take a look at some of his stuff. It's really amazing. The fit and finish on this is excellent. We have perfect centering. We have perfect rock solid lockup at about 35%. Everything is finished smooth. It's nicely rounded. It has excellent ergonomics. Everything's in the right place. Andre de Villiers is a professional knife maker, and he makes an excellent product. That's all I can say about this. This is amazing. I love this knife, and the reason I took so long to put a review up is because I wanted to make sure, and I asked him a couple questions directly, and make sure that I knew exactly what I was talking about. It's, you know, a custom knife is never one that I'm going to recommend to people for EDC. I can't put this knife on my most recommended playlist because there's very few people out there who will actually drop the money on this type of knife. But for those of you who will, or have been, or want to, if you want to cross the bridge from mid-tech to custom and you're ready to drop this kind of money, your bang for your buck is going to be really, really good with an ADV knife, and you're going to be very happy with it. Not only does this thing look amazing, it feels amazing. These are big, powerful feeling knives. And if you like that, you like a smooth action, and you like a powerful flip with recoil, oh man, it's really hard. It's going to be really hard for you to find that for less than what Andre is asking for these knives. You know, in the lower end of his customs and in the ultra high end of his customs, he just has good prices. That is about all I can say about this amazing custom piece, guys. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. If you'd like to take a look at my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, then please subscribe to my channel because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.